Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at a Yes side project, a brand new album and a new group called Arc of Life. They've got two current members of Yes. They've got a Yes touring member. They've got a former side member of Yes. So all coming together to do this project here, and it's a real interesting sound. We're going to get into that in just a little bit, but if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with this Yes side project and new band, Arc of Life, that we're going to talk about here. And just to give you a little context, because it's going to come up and we're going to reference it throughout this, is Yes started back in 1968, so 53 years that they've been around. And the reason I'm pointing that out is that currently there are no original members left in Yes, none that started it. So with the passing of Chris Squire in 2015, he was the last original member in Yes. Now, in 1970, Steve Howe came in, and so he has been there on and off, and he's in the current lineup of Yes. So you do have him, and he's obviously been with the group, or on and off now, for the last 50 plus years. So you do have him. So Yes is still going strong. And Chris Squire, when he knew that he was going to pass, he handpicked Billy Sherwood to take over for him on bass. And interesting side note, John Wetton of Asia also handpicked Billy Sherwood to take over for him and that project, which of course also had Steve Howe in it. So you got Billy Sherwood handpicked by two leading major bass players like that to take over the position, or their position in the band. And so that's who we have here. And this lineup here, we've got Billy Sherwood, who of course came playing bass, came into Yes in 1997 for the Open Your Eyes album, and he stuck around in 1999 for the latter. But then he came back in 2015 when he took over for Chris Squire. And then we've got John Davison on vocals here, and he of course came in 2012, but didn't record with them until 2014 for the Heaven and Earth album. So you got those two current members of Yes, and then we've got Jimmy Hahn on guitar. And he played on the Union album, and so he was a side member at that point. And then we've got Jay Shallon on drums, and he is currently the touring drummer for Yes. So not a full member, but he is a touring member. So right off the bat, we've got four guys that are linked with Yes, and then we've got Dave Kersner on keyboards, rounding out this lineup for this new project, Arc of Life here. And really interesting album in my opinion, and sound. And I think that the thing that really stands out about this are the lush, layered, harmonized vocals that are on here, because you have both Billy Sherwood and John Davison singing co-lead on this and trading vocals on and off throughout this. So you really get to hear those two guys. If you've been wondering what a new Yes album would sound like, with Billy Sherwood taking over for Chris Squire and of course John Davison singing lead on it, what is that going to sound like without having Chris Squire there? This album here will let you know what that is, and I think if nothing else, it's worth checking out just for that. But this is a really interesting album, and so what I have found kind of interesting about it is that the beginning of this album, the first 5 tracks or so, to me lean much more towards the pop element of the progressive world. The 80s sound with Yes at that time, in Asia and GTR guitar, those types of progressive bands that were doing the more pop thing. I think this is leaning more towards that, and lead single off of it, You Make It Real, I think if you've heard that, to more pop sort of lush ballad kind of a thing, beautifully harmonized layered vocals that are within that, and a good beat to it kind of a thing. I think you'll understand what I'm talking about with that. But the second half of this album is where it starts to really lean into the progressive element, and where I think it really starts to lean more towards Yes and those sort of things. And so if you're looking for that, you're actually getting both things out of it on this here. Interestingly though, track 4, Until Further Notice, I wanted to mention that one because that one there I think could have easily been on Big Generator. The rhythms and everything that are within that. Track number 6 though, Just Inside, that's where it first kicks off and leans more to that yes element and the progressive element. There's a breakdown in the middle of this, and the lead work that is done in there and the instrumentation I think is really great, and that's where you really get to hear some of that. Track 7, I Want to Know You Better, is also a really good track on here. But track 8, Locked Down, that one here is my favorite on this one. It is full on yes style. This one here has amazing instrumentation work on it, and each part just builds and builds and builds until they all tie together on it, and I think it really comes across just great on here. The track 9 is a good one on here, Therefore We Are, but track 10 on here, The End Game, that one is a bit of a, maybe the hardest song, if you want to call it that, you know, for yes, or for a group that sounds like that. But it's a nice sort of coda cap to this. It's a culmination. It's a good crescendo to everything that's on here. So I do really like the way that this album plays throughout, how everything is sort of moving and building, and it starts with shorter songs and more pop leaning, and then it gets to longer, more progressive, and this last track I think really caps it off well. And so, you know, definitely I think that Billy Sherwood and John Davison are definitely sort of the stars of this, just due to the vocal stylings and how they play off each other and everything. And I will say too though that this is definitely more leaning towards Billy Sherwood solo projects, side projects that he's done, like World Trade and Citizen and Circa and stuff like that. So if you like those projects there, I think you're going to really like this. So let's take a look at this. This is the front cover of it. I like this artwork that they've done here. You're in a cave, and I think that's supposed to be sunrise, kind of a very beautiful thing there. And of course the cave is creating the arc, so arc of life, I guess, you know, sunrise, sunset, that sort of stuff. And then on the back side here, we've got a nighttime shot, which I also think is really cool, the counter to that, and of course all the song listing and everything down there. And if we open this up here, this is what we see on the inside. You get that nighttime shot, and then it's also on the CD. But when we pop the CD out, we get that sunrise you know, view again there. Let me take the booklet out. Let's thumb through that. Okay, so there's the booklet, and I think they do a good job on this. Got the art, you got a nice group shot there, and it tells you what everyone you know, is doing on the album and production. But then you get individual shots of the guys, group shots there, more individual shots. There it goes again. You get some more art on the inside of this, and again, and lyrics, and the rest of that, and then the end of it. So a nice booklet all in my opinion. You definitely get to see the guys. It's not just one band shot kind of a thing, so I do appreciate that. But bottom line on this album, I think it's a really good album. I think if you're a fan of Yes, Asia, those sort of groups, if you're interested in, again, what new Yes would sound like, this is going to give you the closest representation of it. But there's a lot to check out here. I think it's done really well, and it's very fascinating, and I would highly recommend it for fans of Yes and Asia, and definitely if you're a fan of Billy Sherwood. As I said, it leans a lot towards the side projects and things that he has done. All right, I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.